Welcome, friends and fans of all things Sega. It's the Sega Guys podcast, ready to relive a January 30 years in the past. I'm Dan the Mega Driver, and I'm joined by my good friend Sam Hickman. To my Richard Ledbetter, it's James the Segaholic. How you doing, mate?
I'm very good, mate, and a happy new year to you at the time of
Happy,
recording this.
yes, Happy New Year indeed. All good reasons to be optimistic. Looks like it's going to be a banger year. Of course, we're not talking about 2026. We're talking about 1996. But yeah, I'm
Oh, I
hoping,
like it, I like it.
hoping that you had a good Christmas, mate. Hope you had a good one. Kids are spoiled. Just a shame at West End, but you know,
I know, I know. That's the thing, mate. It's like I was saying to my wife earlier. Like, we took the tree and that down today, decorations down, and packed them away for another year. And it's like all that weeks or even months of planning. You know what I mean? And gone. Just like if you're making Christmas dinner, like you're in the kitchen for like hours, like peeling spuds and making roasties and carrots and parsnips and getting the honey roasting going and getting the turkey in and the roast beef and you lay it out and then that's it. It's just like all that prep and work and then it's done in a flash. You know what I mean? Before you know it, you're doing the dishes. You know, that's it. Aye, another year, mate. And 2026, let's go, let's do it.
I mean, from a gaming perspective, 2026 is shaping up to be a bit of a doozy. Obviously, got a game wise as GTA 6, but I don't
If it
think it's going to be
appears,
if it appears, but I don't think it's going to be a good year to be a gamer of any kind. Not with the whole RAM crisis going on. You know you not seen this?
with, no, mate, I'm
Oh,
totally unplugged for socials now, so
yeah, it hasn't
unless
been
people
widely
tell me
reported.
stuff.
So the gist of it is that because everyone's all going all in on AI data centers now, um, basically there's only a handful of people that create RAM chips and memory for SSDs and stuff. Um, there's Micron who do Crucial, there's Samsung, and there's a couple of others. But because it's so crucial that we get these data centers up and running, and because they all need RAM, they're paying hand over fist for all the RAM and memory. So effectively, because they're paying so much to get, all these wafers, they're not even paying for sticks, they're paying for the wafers that the RAM and the memory are made from. They've basically stockpiling it, so the supply is nearly non-existent now. RAM has shot up by like 4 times. So the sticks that I got for 98 quid for my current PC are now 420 quid. Um, then
Jesus.
same things happened with SSDs. Nvidia have said that they're not going to bundle GDDR RAM onto their GPUs anymore for their own versions. Obviously, if you've got someone like Asus or whatever
Aye.
selling their version of it, that will be on there. But yeah, so everything is going to go through the roof in terms of cost. So you think of anything that uses RAM is going to see a massive price hike in the next few months. It's already happening to PCs at a component level. The feeling is that it will happen to PCs like pre-built ones once contracts start expiring. In fact,
Aye.
some people have started saying it's happening already. Asus and Nvidia have already said that they're going to raise the prices of their components, and then when apparently a lot of the contracts are renewed annually, and the Microsoft, PlayStation, Nintendo ones are all due to be renewed, and they'll all have to start paying over the odds for these components as well, or slow down production. Microsoft are happy because their consoles aren't selling anyway, so they're just
Aye,
like, yeah,
true.
they're like pay our subscription service and play on the cloud, you little. So, yes, mate, it's a miserable. It's going to be a miserable time to be a modern gamer, I think. I mean, I'm glad I did my PC when I did. So from a hardware perspective, I'm okay. But anyone that was thinking of getting, it's the thing, mate. My kids like their games like I do, and the middle one wanted to play the new Jurassic World game, um, but it was Xbox Series S and X only. Um, so like the consoles are 5 years old now, and 5 years. If every previous generation, the console would normally be down to like 200, 150,
Aye.
£100, but now they're still so expensive. 300 quid for a Series S, and it's just like, sorry, you can't have it. It's just ridiculous, and they're only going to go up now.
Jeez. Well, mate, I'm thinking ahead. I hope 8-bit mods have got plenty of stock of RetroTink 4K CEs in stock because I'm worried about if they have to, because there's obviously there's RAM modules in them. I'm going to presume, wouldn't there be? So
Yeah, yeah. Well,
any kind of component, I suppose. That's what they've got, but I've never seen inside one. But I'm assuming there's got to be some kind of memory in there for what it does.
yeah.
So,
The talk's been all about consoles, PCs, and stuff, but it could affect stuff like tellies, mobile phones,
oh, Apple will
anything.
be happy. Tim Cook will be like, you know, we've got a brand new iPhone. It's costing $2,000. Don't blame us, blame the RAM crisis. Yeehaw. It's like
Yeah.
shareholders are like, yay. Jesus.
So yeah, sadly, that's it's not the best way to start off 2026 with that news. I mean, this all started back in December 2025. So, but mate, that's why we're talking about 1996, and
So, mate.
it's looking forward to this one. I know when we finished recording last time, we were flicking through this one kind of as a preview, and it's quite an
Aye.
exciting issue to go through, isn't it?
That is, mate. It's issue 3 of SEGA Saturn Magazine, which I believe is the January issue. So we're kind of tying this in nicely. I just got it loaded up here. Yes. Yes, the January 96 issue with Sega Rally proudly on the cover. The third of the big three, obviously, we had Virtua Fighter 2 on issue 1 with Pi. We had Virtua Cop.
That was last issue, yeah.
That was last issue. Was it James on the front? Was it James Cool was on the front?
Yeah,
Was
that's it.
it? Yeah. And we've now got the Toyota Celica on the cover of issue 3. So, aye, mate, it's 100 pages. Not quite as jam packed in terms of previews and reviews, but plenty of news in here. And obviously, we've got a demo disc to talk about. We've got quite a large preview as well, or a review, sorry, a feature on Sega Rally. Goes into a lot of detail as well. So, aye, plenty to cover, mate. Lots of interesting bits. And of course, our favourite, or my favourite bit, the letters.
Yes, indeed, mate. Yeah, so if you are reading along via the link in the description on Retro CDN, the version that is on there is the non-CD edition. I mean, it doesn't make any difference really in here and now which version you're reading. The only difference back then was that you'd have a CD stuck to the front. So yeah, that CD. James has got his copy. I've got my copy. Thank you, Andy Mackey, for supplying my one.
Thank you, eBay, for supplying mine. Oh, there we go.
But yeah, so if you've probably been seeing some footage playing now under here. But as we said before, and you did a video on the cover disc, didn't you, mate?
Mhm.
Because obviously you got some very strong memories attached to that. I never actually owned it myself back in the day, but it really is a cracking little
Mhm.
little demo disc, jammed full of content. Obviously the highlight is the Sega Rally demo, without a doubt.
Oh, aye. It's again, it's a kind of just a practice round. It's just two cars, one forest track, but it's Ignition. It's the music that plays on it
Yes.
as well. So that CD was put into my CD player many, many times just to listen to Ignition. So that's again that music track. We've spoken in kind of WhatsApp about this as well, about how like kind of Sega music from like certain games it can just trigger like memories. And Ignition just takes me back to the bootleg sampler. Never mind Sega Rally itself, just it takes me back to that demo disc. But I mean, a lot of good stuff on it as well. Big kind of highlight reel of what's kind of coming and what's out now as well. So there was plenty of good stuff on there.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because obviously you've got the Sega Rally demo and you've got this, and then Clockwork Knight I think is a really is a decent demo. But I think if you're coming into that one from Clockwork Knight 1, it doesn't really showcase the difference in the second game. But Bug, it's the Insectia level, which is a real pain to get around. While I
Telling it
was
well.
playing this, yeah, while I was playing it, it was I fell off one of the ledges, and it's right near the bottom of the like the lower part of the map, and he literally falls like about 2 inches and then splats on the floor. And I was like, oh, stupid game. I've never beaten it, mate. I've tried many times, but it just really just drives me mad. I was using I was playing the Japanese version the last attempt, and I got up to like the fourth world, and at that point I thought this is painful almost.
Bug shite.
Jump straight. Yeah, it's not a great
Oh.
game, unfortunately.
No, it's no one I've really ever been a fan of at all. It's like it's charming enough, but it's one that I never owned, and it's no one that I'm exactly going to source out. I'll not be on to Tom Thumb like get on Syndico and get me a copy of Bug, mate. It's like
Yeah,
you know,
it's
live without it.
okay, but yeah, it's just why do they have to make it so bloody hard? I think it would have been better. I've always said it would have been better as a Sonic game. If you were Sonic and you rolled into a ball and it wasn't every time you touched something it killed you. If you're Sonic, you
Aye.
turn into a ball and you kill them. It would have worked a lot better. But as it is, it's a bit of a chore to play at times. And then there's World Series Baseball, which is the other playable demo, um,
I could
the home
never
run
hit a
derby.
thing. I was so bad at that. At the time, I remember being really impressed by like the stadiums and the players there. That looks really good. But I could not hit a barn door with a banjo, mate. Honestly, it was just so bad.
I
Just
used, I've been
nah.
playing a fair bit of it lately because I've been playing it when capturing footage for this, playing a bit of Home Run Derby. But then I was also playing it for the PC version because it's part of that Windows 9X XOWin 9X thing. So the PC port's pretty decent. But yeah, so I thought, well, how can I get an idea of how well it plays? And what's the thing I'm most familiar with for the Home Run Derby? So I ended up
Thing
just
is,
playing that.
mate, I own a copy of the Japanese version of it.
Yes, so do I.
Do you know why? Because I wanted a copy of Knights on Syndico, and Tom found one in the best value. Also had a copy of World Series Baseball, so it was a double auction. So just ended up with World Series Baseball as well.
See, I've got the sequel. Actually got the PAL version for the sequel. But yeah, I got that in a. It was a similar thing. I had it for decades, and it was one of those where I think it was an early eBay thing. It was in a
Oh,
bundle of Saturn games, and that was one of them. They're good games. I'm just not a massive fan of baseball.
no.
Not cricket either. It's not just an American thing. Not.
Don't start me cricket, man. I don't have to. You can play for days and days on end and then have a draw. You're like, you what?
Yes, and then as you're saying, mate, there's some rolling demos. So you get the Virtua Fighter 2 in watch mode. Get Daytona USA, and a few other ones on there. So and they're obviously they're rolling demos, so they're pretty decent in terms of
Yeah.
visual makeup. They're not all grainy, but then you get
And
the
on the back, it shows you exactly what you get. So it's Virtua Fighter 2, Virtua Cop, Mystaria, Wing Arms, NHL All Star Hockey, Panzer Dragoon, Daytona USA, and more. It says, this disc has been made for Europe by Sega of America and therefore runs 17.5% slower than finished products. However, we thought you'd want to see the hot titles coming soon to Saturn. We can assure you the final versions will be full screen and full speed. There you go, mate.
Yes. So obviously there's the FMV trailer put together by our friends in America for PAL owners. The FMV trailer showing Blackfire, okay, Genwar, right, Congo never came over.
Thank God.
Mr. Bones, Virtua Fighter Remix, Astol also didn't come over.
Criminally.
Cyber Speedway, a Mansion of Hidden Souls. So I think you know, if you start watching the videos, it kind of, when I was playing my disc, it kind of just went through them all, and then you get the sizzle reel at the end. But yeah, get, some of, I think, you know, Cyber Speedway actually was pretty decent on there. But you look at Congo and it's just like you got the disembodied hands floating around, and even in that flash, it doesn't look right, does it?
It's nobody was rushing out to buy Congo if it had ever came out here based on the back of that footage anyway. You know what I mean? No. No, no, no.
Yeah, and Blackfire and Genmore, not a big fan of either of those either. But there we go.
No.
Not the
I mean, Cyber Speedway isn't a bad game. It's not brilliant. I mean, it's if you'd rented it, you'd have had a decent amount of fun, but the handling's a wee bit kind of iffy. But that's just my dishwasher finishing, by the way, if anybody heard that. it's just we sit there silent, no balling anybody, just beeps out of nowhere to tell me it's done. But the music on that More Games reel is from Cyber Speedway. It's by Bygone Dogs. You know, since they decided to take the brilliant Japanese soundtrack out of the game and just completely ruin the vibe of it. You know, Grand Chaser was the bad. You know, Cyber Speedway is a whole different beast, but
yeah, I like Grand Chaser.
Scratched. Are you a Grand Chaser? It's like an only fools and horses joke, isn't it? It's a Grand Chaser. It's like, unbelievable. Nah. No bad game, but it's would have scratched the wipeout itch, I think, for a few people until at least that arrived. You know, hoverboards or no hoverboards, like hovercraft and stuff like that. So,
yeah, so decent demo. So yeah, I think if people want to sample a bit of history, get a copy of that onto your, you know, your Saru or your Fenrir or your Satiator or your Mode, or you know, get a disc off of eBay. I think they probably go for about a tenner now. Grab a little bit of history. It's relive those moments. I mean, that's what we're doing when we're going through this magazine is reliving that era. So I think Andy Mackie's got the physical copies of this, and Greg Matthews has as well, hasn't he? So they can read along with this one.
They've completed the collection. So bootleg sampler, if you want it with the sleeve, there's a copy on there for £13 just now. If you just want the disc, £6.95 with free delivery and £7.99 with free delivery. So there's a chancer. Somebody wanting £21.50 with the sleeve. You'll be relisting that over and over, my friend.
Yeah, seeing so many without the sleeve does make me think that I'm not sure how it came onto the Sega Saturn magazine this issue, but I imagine it came in a clear wallet.
Aye, see, I'm that's where my memory's hazy because I remember, like, I'm trying to remember. I remember having that sleeve back in the day, but I can't remember if that was one that came like with the console or whether it was on the I can't imagine it being like that on the cover of the magazine. But in saying that, what makes me think that it might have is because in the actual magazine itself, they do show the cover.
Yeah.
So
they show the cover and they show the back as well.
So again, my memory's hazy. I can't remember how it came on the actual cover, but still, brilliant demo disc.
Yeah.
You can ram Fantastic. Your demo one up your arse. Bootleg sampler for the win.
Indeed, mate. Indeed. Right, let's crack open the mag. And we've got an advert for World Cup golf in there, which we'll skip over. And then obviously a little bit talking about the demo disc itself. Talking about the showcases. Play, watch, and witness, and yeah, you'll certainly be witnessing Gen War and Congo. But yeah, it's 7 pages till we get to the editorial, mate, and yeah, just like the last issue, it's full of optimism in here. You know, talking about how Virtua Cop has been a sellout, how Virtua Fighter 2 had a pre-order number of 1.5 million units, people queuing up on the streets to get a look at it. It's saying that people seem to think in this country, so I think they're talking about Japan in terms of the success, but in this country, the Saturn has something to prove. It looks as though the tables are turning for Sega. Saturn fever is hitting the UK too. And even though Sega Rally and Virtua Fighter 2 aren't available until after Christmas, games players are already in a state of nervous excitement in anticipation. Yeah, I think it says on here, you don't see those same levels of excitement being offered on the PlayStation at the moment. So very, very optimistic, full of pomp there. And yeah, it's like we've said many times, mate. I mean, in this period where you had the big three, you had the Psygnosis news, you had all these other games that were, being previewed, you had all the Model 2 arcade games that are coming out. It did feel like, the PlayStation didn't have anything like the big three at the time. And it did feel like, the Saturn had finally had arrived. And it was the machine to get. So at this point, I think that optimism felt justified. As we know,
I
history
mean,
turned out quite differently, but
I mean, we've spoken so many times about how those three games alone didn't sell more systems here. And then you get people who throw out the whole gamers were looking for more from their games at that time. No, 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 no. Like, narrative-driven story games, PlayStation did usher that in some arcade ports like Tekken 3 especially, changed gamers' perceptions of the extra content an arcade port should have. But like story-driven stuff, like it wasn't Final Fantasy 7, late 97, into 98, Metal Gear Solid, that's never like people started seeing that console games could be more, they could be cinematic. But 1995 into 96, no. You were still coming off of the Mega Drive and Super Nintendo era, Amiga owners, etc., coming across to the console kind of generations. There was no kind of story driven games that were of that ilk that we would come to expecting that would lay the foundations going forward. So it's baffling to me that the big three did not sell more Saturns just based on their visual look alone. Like that should have been the hook, because all three of those games are they're flawless in terms of what they're doing on Saturn. Any kind of doubts people had from Daytona, if you were somebody who had sat and looked at Daytona and Ridge Racer side by side and maybe thought, oh well, clearly the PlayStations are the one to get. Man, the big three would have just blew away any kind of doubt you had that Saturn had the potential to do, more. And they're saying about Saturn fever hitting the UK again, kind of being there and witnessing it. Like my copy of Virtua Cop with the Virtua gun in December was on the bottom shelf in W.H. Smith's game section. Like Sega Rally and Virtua Fighter 2, and I got them in beaties, a week after each other, in January 96. Like there was no big displays, there was no demo pods, like there was no effort made. Even like if you went into like a Dixon's or a Comet at that time, there was no big promotion of these games. There was no push. So it is interesting they're saying Saturn Fever's hitting the UK. It didn't feel like it at the time. It was very low key. Unless you were really like, if you were reading Sega Saturn magazine like we were, and you were in tune with that, and you were reading these articles, playing these discs, and you knew it was coming, then yeah, you would have felt part of it. Like no doubt, the editorial team at Sega Saturn magazine did. They're entrenched in that. They would have felt it, but out there in the retail scene, it certainly did not feel like it. Not from my memory anyway. There was no large scale promotion from stores or otherwise, no demo pods, no promotional material, no big cardboard cutouts of Akira or the Virtua Cop guys, nothing. Just it was like, there's the games on a shelf in a section out the road. And PlayStation meanwhile was very much, that did have demo pods, it did have a retail presence. So
sticking them in nightclubs as well. But
aye, that's it, mate. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, and I think they probably felt it in Sega Saturn magazine because obviously they were all part of the same group that did CMVG. And CMVG, if you were reading that, then you might have got excited because CMVG were They always were a very balanced magazine. They didn't really play favorites, you know. I think when
Mm.
when you had like Crash Nights and Crash Bandicoot Nights and Super Mario 64 all come out within months of each other over here, you know, they had all three plastered on the front cover, and I think Nights and Mario 64 got 5 out of 5s. Crash got 4 out of 5, but they, you know, they you always got the sense from CMVG, at least those early days, when Rich himself would be on CMVG as well, and you know they're all part of that meme machines.
Aye.
Um, Nintendo, I can't remember what I think it was. I can't remember what the Nintendo magazine was called, but they're all part of that same family, weren't they? And if you were close to the CMVG guys, then you were like, yeah, everyone's getting excited about the big three. But you're right, when you're in the retail, when you're just out, looking at games, you just didn't get that same buzz because Sega weren't promoting it as much. I think Sega was still kind of swept him. There's a few things that we'll probably pick up in a letters page bit later on, but there's still a bit of confusion about where their focus is, you know. So it's quite a you do get the sense that it's quite a muddled time
Aye.
in terms of the Sega Saturn. It's not their complete focus, at least not yet. Although it probably will be very shortly. But
But you're
yeah, what
still
you say?
seeing, you're sorry, mate, you're seeing already at this early stage that kind of disconnect between how the console's being seen in Japan compared to how it is in the West.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, 300,000 copies of Virtua Cop sold according to this in its first week on sale. And then Virtua Fighter 2, like it says, 1.5 million pre orders. It's shifting Saturns, you know, it's forming queues to just to see it, you know. So the hype for those games was greater in Japan because that arcade scene was so alive there,
yeah.
especially for Virtua Fighter. So that didn't translate here as well. So already you're in issue 3, and again, this stuff didn't correlate to us like because of what we know now. Like we can go back and read these things and go, right, okay. So you are seeing that kind of difference between how the machine is perceived, you know, in different regions already.
Yeah, 100%, mate. It really is a case that it's quite look funny. It's quite funny looking at this with what we know now. I mean, at this point, I was picking up, various Sega magazines, and I'd, I, this was when I stopped wanting to get a 32X, and this is where I wanted to get a Saturn, and I was like, all right, I need to save up for one of these now. But I thought it was still like the thing to have, even despite like the deluge of PlayStation stuff. And yeah, I still don't get how people ignored the big three, as you were saying, mate. PlayStation didn't have anything that was, what was the big PlayStation RPG? I don't think they really had one at that point. Certainly not over here. We've got Mystaria in this issue that we'll talk about shortly. We had a virtual highlight, but the
Mm.
PlayStation I don't think had anything in terms of an RPG perspective. Um, their games weren't, the Namco games weren't full of loads of content. I mean, even Wipeout, really, how many tracks has that got? Maybe like 8 or something like that.
Oh, can't imagine.
It's not got an abundance of content. It's just
It's 6 or 7, I'm sure it is.
yeah. Um, Ridge Racer was, one track with different routes. Racer Revolution was basically the same again. So, Tekken 1, I think, had the unlockable characters, but none of them were really kind of. It didn't have that same bang that Virtua Fighter did, and Tekken 1 plays absolutely awful. So, it, and you know, and there was no light gun, game on the PlayStation. Time Crisis is still a couple of years away.
Aye, Christmas
That port.
'97, mate. That's whenever I got it. You know,
So it's yeah, it's one of those things, mate. It's just Sega had been more focused on the Saturn. Who knows? And they'd actually put all their might behind that and promoted the Saturn rather than kind of the photo expert. There we go. But this was, I think, '96 is, despite what happens to the Saturn in '96. When the N64 comes along, it becomes a real struggle. Obviously, Tom Kalinske leaves at one point in this year. But despite all that, in terms of the software we got, and as we go through these issues, people will see it was such an incredible year for this console. I mean, this was really when it really came alive.
Aye.
And yeah, see some of those games in here. Some of them are already out, and some are being talked about. But yeah, I thought that '96 in general was the Saturn's best year and one of the best years that Sega have ever had in terms of
Mm.
raw software.
Aye. I say you've kind of got your little release update there. Obviously, the big three, and it's again pushing, Virtua Cop out now. 44.99, 59.99 with they going, what an absolute bargain.
Yeah.
Virtua Fighter 2 early January, Virtua Fighter Sega Rally mid January. So getting you ready to go and spend your money, and then we move on to the kind of main news article, which is the first Panzer Dragoon 2 pictures.
Yeah.
As it's put in it, that's not me failing to say Zwei, it's just the fact that they have put Panzer Dragoon 2 on there.
Yes.
So it's not me being lazy, it's just I'm reading the headline. Read the copy,
Yes.
James, read the copy.
It says in here that it's like 20% complete. They've only got one level that's playable, but already you can see kind of the visions coming together from this, because it talks about the fact that you start off the level on foot, that it's got the it says that you're on a preset course, but you can make a choice on which gateway you go at some point. So the route choices are already there. Yeah, so very early on this one, I was trying to think in my head whether this aligns to kind of the demo that was on one of the Japanese discs that I used in the Panzer Dragoon Zwei retrospective I did. But the game looks quite different. But yeah, you can already see on here the cleaner textures, a big jump over the original game. A lot of enemies in that shot at the bottom of the copy.
20% complete, mate. It still looks better than the remake.
Yes.
Come on, all you haters. I'm sitting right here. Come on.
And the text on the text on the title screen is a different color and different font as well.
That's what it is. My game start option just red. I'll just be a kind of basic placeholder anyway. But aye, interesting as you say, mate. You've got all the kind of the ships overhead. Doesn't quite look like he's flying at that point. I think he's still on the ground. But aye, it's as you say, mate. You can still see the kind of increased texture work. You can see the kind of mountains either side. You're in that kind of cavern, that kind of valley running through. Ships overhead. So,
and you've got the original Panzer Dragoon aiming reticule on there as well.
So as the squares, aye.
So using
mate. 20%.
Yeah. Oh, we'll be watching. It's feel like Palpatine at the moment. We'll be watching your progress very closely.
Oh, and then we have the irony of that in the previous podcast. You had used the term Capcom's own Big Three, and then they decide in Sega Saturn Magazine Issue 3 that they would also use that. And you hadn't even looked ahead at that point whenever you used that. So
I think someone pointed out as well that that CMVG used the name Capcom's Big Three as well. And I think that might have been in the back of my mind 30 years ago. That's where I saw it. But mate, I remember looking at these, and I think it was in CMVG, and they had like 6 pages. They had two pages for each game. And I was like, oh, Darkstalkers looks amazing. Oh, X-Men Children of the Atom looks amazing. Oh, this new Street Fighter game looks amazing. And I wanted them all.
I know. I mean, the only one that I owned at the time when it was new was Street Fighter Alpha. I picked up X-Men Children of the Atom in Game Zone like years later when I had my own Saturn, and the case was just for the age that it was, mate. I don't know what the person that had traded it in had done to it. Like it looked worse than some of the cases I see even today. Like people putting pictures up, but it was cheap and I got to play it. But Street Fighter Alpha was just phenomenal to play and to look at. I mean, I know you've done your brilliant video on Street Fighter Alpha, and I think the fact that it's called Alpha, you kind of, it was almost like an alpha release. It was like the kind of the test bed for the real release of Alpha 2, but um, I just I love Street Fighter Alpha. The first game, I thought, again, coming from the Amiga and playing Street Fighter 2 on there, the kind of fighting games that I played on there, this level of 2D fighting game in the home was just like mind blowing to me. Like, I'd played Street Fighter the movie, played all right, but it looked like dug meat. But this like, Street Fighter Alpha, man, was just mind blowing. Big giant sprites and smooth animation and like stuff in the background, just little intricate details, just like nothing that I'd ever seen in a fighting game before. And I just remember like, oh, I've got not just a Street Fighter game, I've got like the latest Street Fighter game. This feels good. This is the latest Street Fighter game. So I've got a big soft spot for Alpha.
Yeah, I mean, and it's hard looking back on Alpha because it really is quite a feat that they managed to get that much of the game into the state it is in just 6 months, even though they were given 3 months to develop it, and then they were told that they need to develop it for both the CPS1 and CPS2 systems in between. There's an interview, not an interview. One of the producers actually does videos on YouTube, and he talks about it, and you can see he's still livid when he talks about them. So and they told us that we had to make this game for all the CPS1 games, and then we're sitting in the meeting and I go, could you make it for the CPS2 as well? And he's like, so I mean, it's an incredible game, and obviously, what as the news unravels, we'll talk about it a little bit more. But yeah, it's a fantastic game. It looks great. I think the only thing is about it is that you can see that it has been rushed a little bit in terms of the stages and stuff. Although that's only from looking at the sequel and see what it became. But what it was then. When you look at the fact that it had the palette swapped backgrounds and stuff like that. But it's an absolutely phenomenal game, and those three there really were just kind of the start of the kind of the Saturn's 2D dominance. Not so much Alpha itself. The advantages it has over the PlayStation version are fairly minor, and I think it's only because it's at its heart it's a CPS1 game rather than a CPS2. But Vampire Hunter or Darkstalker's Revenge and X-Men Children of the Atom, they just look so good. And I didn't get X-Men Children of the Atom until late 97 when I got my Saturn converted, and I got a Japanese disc only copy from Computer Exchange for £2. I don't know
How much is it on Syndico, mate? Let's check and see if we can match that.
So yeah, we've got the big three on there, mate, and then just a little snippet on here. I thought Dark Savior. I thought that was quite early to hear Dark Savior on here. That's a game that I have a lot of time for. Done all 5 scenarios on it back in the day. Quite a good looking and unique RPG or adventure game. Didn't realize it was getting talks about this early. Although I think it did come out in 96, 97. So, but yeah, obviously the kind of the spiritual successor to Landstalker.
The screenshot on there's not going to get you excited for much. It's very overly saturated, zoomed in. I believe it was a show, the Toshimen show, held at the Tokyo theme park. This Toshimen versus Saturn show held in a Tokyo theme park in late November. The show was an opportunity for the Japanese public to get their hands on the games that will be released during the winter months, and a chance for Sega to build up their launch of the big 3 titles. And I would imagine that this has probably been taken with a camera off a screen somewhere and then adding it to the magazine. So, but I mean, Dark Savior, it's another one that's on my. This is so much my backlog. I don't like to say I've got a backlog when it comes to like ODEs are dangerous for that. Like, I know there's people who put every game on an SD card, whereas on each of my ODEs for all my Segas, I've only got games on there that I know A, I want to play, and B, that I know I will play. So Dark Savior is on there. It's just also the screenshots I say doesn't look great, but it is a really, really nice looking game.
Yeah,
So
it's a fantastic game. Yeah, that's not
yeah,
the best screenshot, and it's not the best section either. I remember being it's like a platforming sort of section around all those pipes, and not the best one that you'd want to show off, but yeah, it's a cracking game, mate, and look forward to hearing more about that. Just a few talked about on the next page. You got Robo Pit, which was a really odd game. You got Creature Shock, which was a port, I think, of a 3DO game originally, but it's absolutely terrible. I think it got 2 out of 10 or something somewhere. Um, Gunbird, good to see that one. That's a great shoot 'em up from Capcom. Um, and then two at the bottom, which I think eventually came to different names. So you got Face Mask. Face Mask, I think, is Death Mask. I'm not 100% sure though. I can't find
face
an author.
mask.
I can't find any information about it anywhere. I type in video game face mask and face mask with Sega Retro. I'm not getting anything. So
It's a COVID game,
yeah.
decades before COVID.
And then Road Racer, which has been talked about here as a Ridge Racer clone. But yeah, this one is Wangan Dead Heat,
Aye,
as it would
I
be.
thought that. I seen it. I'm like, that's just wanging dead heat into it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Aye, because you can clearly see the Ridge Racer inspiration on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very, very obvious.
Yeah, it's definitely
Aye.
clear in these pictures in here. It does. I mean, even the and I've always said that about Wangan is that it looks like it does feel like Ridge Racer on the Saturn almost.
Mm.
Um, I don't think it does a bad job, to be honest. I quite enjoy it. And yeah, it was Road Racer, obviously turned to Wangan Dead Heat, which in turns was Highway 2000
Aye.
over here. But
Took
yeah,
out
great.
the impress the girlfriend elements of the Japanese version.
Yeah, they should have kept them in. Me as a
She's telling
teenager,
me
mate, I would have bought that straight away.
so oh, all that into it. I don't need to go out. I can attract ladies on my Saturn.
Exactly.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's it because I forgot that it was called Road Racer. I had to double check it before we started recording. But yeah, cool to see. It's a thing, mate. I think that's what we're going to see through this is this journey through the magazine. We're going to see all these games kind of pop up and slowly evolve into what we came to know them as.
Mm-hmm.
Magic Carpet on the next page after it talks about the demo disc, which I don't think is a great port on the Saturn. Be interested to see how that pans out. But yeah, I don't think the Saturn version is the way to play it. I've got the Japanese Saturn version, but I don't think it quite worked on consoles. I think you really kind of needed a PC to play. I don't know what your thoughts are, mate, on Magic Carpet.
Again, I know of its existence, but it's one I've never bothered to play. If I
Yeah,
remember, whenever it came out, it was in one of the big, thick plastic cases, wasn't it? It was one of the big, chunky cases.
yeah. So
Aye.
I've got the Japanese version that's just in a dual case, but yeah, because it is an Electronic Arts game, it's in one of those big, stupid,
Aye.
bloody boxes. Uh, Gundam Niku. So Sega's own scrolling shooter based on the huge mobile attack suits is not yet something to get excited about. So yeah,
So Gundam's one game, and then Ninku is
Niku
another
is
one by
yeah.
Atlas, the small developer Atlas. That's a spell. They're not small anymore.
Ninku. I don't know too much about that one. Um,
Yeah. It looked
yeah,
rather sad next to the mighty Virtua Fighter 2 and Fighting Viper's arcade machine, which were omnipresent. Oh, I don't know, man.
interesting.
Let's look at this. Ninku Sega Saturn.
So the Gundam game. I'm trying to see which Gundam game this is. Um, yeah, I think it's the 3D one, isn't it? It's the main. Well, it's just got Gundam on the case. So
It's
Ninku.
it's on. It's called Ninku Soyokina Yatsura no Daiji Kitotsu. Jesus.
Try saying that 3 times.
Mate, once was enough. It's the fighting game developed by Sims and published by Sega for the Saturn, based on the 1995 Ninku anime series. Now, it's interesting it's got a developer down as Sims because that said Atlas.
Yeah, yeah. It says Sims and yeah,
I mean, it might
interesting.
not be the same game, yeah, but
Possibly be interesting to know if that one actually came to fruition or whether it was whether that one was cancelled. Because what's this? What's the? It's a fighting game developed by Sims, so who knows? I mean,
who knows indeed, mate. I'm just trying to look at the
well,
back cover to see if this. Aye, the screenshots match up. It's quite.
really.
Aye, it's actually quite stylized. It looks like the anime style of it. If you kind of go to Sega Retro and look at the, we'll put this up on screen, but it's like it does look like it's stripped straight off the cells of the animation. It has got a very very anime look about it. It's quite kind of mysterious cities of gold looking. The kind of the visual style of it. One day we will find the cities of gold.
We're talking about we're talking about 80s cartoons later on in the issue.
Oh, mate, absolutely, it did come out. That is the same game. Looking at the screenshots, that is the same game, but it's
Japan
no
only
Atlas.
though, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's not Atlas that done it. So
No.
something happened
Well,
because it didn't review well. An average
no.
of 64 based on 7 reviews, but it came out in February '96. So literally a month after this magazine, it came out. So there we go.
Oh, there's no time for it to switch developers and all that sort of stuff now. It's pretty much done. It should be.
So what's probably happened there is that it wasn't even Atlas who were doing it. It was probably Sims and Sega Saturn Magazine have picked it up wrong.
Yeah. Hasn't got Atlas on the case, has it?
Not that I could see, mate.
It says Sega on the title screen.
Yeah.
No, nothing to do with Atlas. I think it's a guff from the SEGA Saturn Magazine team there.
That's it, mate. But there was nobody to pull them up at the time. But we've done it 30
Yeah.
years later. There we go.
Yeah. Sort it out, Rich.
I know. What? Oh.
Next page, Marvel Superheroes is signed up for Saturn. So even though it's just appeared in the arcades, Marvel Superheroes comic will making its way to the Saturn in the middle of '96. It's '97, isn't it? It comes out. It takes a while for it to come over, and it's after the round cart.
I mean, this here coming up, right, is quite apt after the stuff we've been speaking about recently because I ended up doing a rabbit hole because I'm testing games on the Saru, and obviously Marvel Superheroes is synonymous for being slow as hell. There's really bad slowdown. If you try and use the 3 meg version, also you've got the system's 2 meg and the 1 meg that comes on the 4 meg RAM card. Some 1 MB RAM card games don't play nice with a 4 meg RAM card. This is one of them. Even though the option appears in the Western versions, like essentially there was no point because I never got the cartridges here. So, but it transpires that the Japanese version is actually more streamlined. It isn't as there is still some elements of slowdown, but like where you really see it, even if you're only playing, say, Spider-Man against Captain America, whenever the big round one goes up, the round one, there's like a gap between round and one, and on the Japanese version, you don't. It's definitely smoother. The stock Japanese version is definitely smoother, but the Japanese version is also 30 megabytes smaller than the Western versions. And I've only been doing this rabbit hole because I done a search on Google for like Marvel Superheroes Sega Saturn Slowdown, and I found some Saturn forum from like 2011 where there was like an 8-page discussion with people testing out the Japanese version with the RAM card, without the RAM card, with the 1 meg RAM card, with the 4 meg RAM card, testing out PAL versions, American versions. And it was on there that they basically found out that the Japanese version stock runs fine and it runs really well with the 1 meg RAM cartridge, and apparently on the packaging for the game, on the Japanese version, it mentions the 1 MB RAM card. So it doesn't like the 4 meg RAM card at all. I think someone said on that if you try and use the 4 meg RAM card with the Japanese version, it will still introduce slowdown. It just does not like it. So there's also people speculating that although the game in the West shows the option, if you were to put a RAM card you'd imported in, it doesn't actually recognize it. So it will recognize it like you turn it on and off, but it makes no difference. It doesn't improve performance. It's almost like the code, for whatever reason, it will bring it up in the menu that the game sees it, but it will not actually go as far as to use it. So a really, really weird game. Apparently there was like developmental differences, and there clearly was, where there's a 30 meg difference, which in today's terms isn't much, but given the size that games were, I think the PAL version was like 668 megabyte, and it was American version, sorry, 668, and the Japanese was at 636 or something. It was like 32 meg of a difference. So whatever that was doing, don't know. But yes, if you don't want to slow down in Marvel superheroes, regardless of the ODE or disc you are using, use the Japanese version. It's
Don't
a lot
use the RAM
smoother.
card option unless you've got the proper 1 MB plugged in.
Turn it off. Just don't even use it. If you've got a RAM cut in or you're using a Saru, just turn it off. Just don't even acknowledge it.
I can't remember how that game performed when I did my thorough testing. So I
Well,
do have
somebody
it on disc.
commented. Somebody commented recently, a couple of days ago,
Yeah.
on that video asking about it, saying, "Has there been a fix?" And they did mention it in the actual comment as well. They weren't insinuating it was like a Saru problem. They were saying, like, I remember this being an issue, even if you played it from a disc, just wondering if there was maybe a fix implemented. But the fix is just play the Japanese version.
Yeah. Well, I've got the Japanese disc. So
Aye.
I'm all right there. But yeah, obviously this one will I think it goes quiet for a while on Marvel superheroes. Obviously Children of the Atom's got to come and go first, but yeah, it'd be good to see that one come out. And then we've got World Cup golf again.
Golf.
Really
Ooh,
pushing
aye.
this one. Yeah. Yeah, I think we talked about this briefly before, didn't we? It
Aye.
was in the previous issue.
It was,
I've not
aye.
actually played this one. You know, there's enough golf games, and this isn't one I've brought. Have you played it? I don't,
Nah, mate. I mean, I'm just laughing at the screenshot because it's got on there the Scottish Open at Carnoustie, and part of the one side of my in-laws' families from Carnoustie,
all right.
and I have played the open course at Carnoustie
Oh, have you?
for my stag do in 2008, and in 2006 I worked as a kind of steward at the Open when it was there. The one that Padraig Harrington won on a playoff with Sergio Garcia, who shat it at the tail end. He was ahead and should have won it, and he shat it, and Harrington beat him in a playoff. So 2006 or 2007. Anyway, but 2008, turned out my wife's uncle was in, like, he was, because he obviously lives through there, he was able to get you on relatively cheap. And let's just say it was the last time I played golf, mate. I played like local municipal courses and whatnot, and was driving range and could get my way, could hack my way around a 9 hole or an 18 hole municipal, mate. Playing a open championship standard links course, mate. I took 3 packs of Pro V1s, Titleist Pro V1 balls. I came back with two, not 2 packs, 2 balls, mate. The grass was like smacking your golf club off a fence. It's like there's no give. It's like so.
Well, we need
It
to.
was
Maybe you need to
punishing.
play it, mate. Right the wrong.
That's that, mate. I'll fire my bonnet at the Barry Burn again just to jump in. Just that's the thing. Who was a golfer as well? One of the opens in the past at Carnoustie, and this guy waded in, took his shoes and socks off, and pulled his trousers up. He's away in the Barry Burn looking for his ball. Nah, Mine went in there and I never went after. I just took a drop, mate. I'm fine. I'm staying dry. So, nice golf tangent for the golfers out there. There we go. But to answer your question, mate, I've not played it.
Right, we'll go through past the Cool Spot advert and then it's onto the previews, mate. So we've got Two-Go King in here, King of the Spirits as it's known.
Yep.
So obviously, fans of this one, it's a another great little racer here from Atlas, and yeah, it's one of those, mate, that I think it's kind of got a cult following on the Saturn, isn't it? And it's one that people should
Aye.
definitely check out.
It's got a it's got a very deep control system. Like it relies on like kind of drifting in the way it's set up as well. And if you use the arcade racer, it does come into its own. Or if you want to use a 3D controller, I suppose. I'm not sure because like, obviously sometimes the 3D controller is recognised as a 3D controller, and the arcade racer is recognised as arcade racer. But if the game recognises the 3D controller as an arcade racer, then it does not respond the same. There's like a lot of kind of it just over and understeers a lot. It's just, like for example, if you play Sega Rally, that's not plus. If you play that with Arcade Racer, it recognises that peripheral. If you put the 3D controller in, it still thinks it's the Arcade Racer. But if you play Sega Rally Plus, it recognises each peripheral, and they both they feel different. So, but that's definitely got a cult following. It's a great racer.
It says on here that it's unlikely that it'll be released over here, which it's funny because it did come over to the US as high velocity,
Right.
so they're probably thinking that it's not going to get localized, which it did, but it just never came into the PAL regions for some reason.
That name just doesn't suit it though, doesn't it? No, high
High
velocity
velocity.
ray. It just doesn't suit it at all, man. Look at the way it's got that kind of almost initial D style vibe into it, the
Yeah.
kind of, and it's got some amazing like views at like some of the tracks if you play at night time and you kind of come over the bow of hills and you can see the kind of neon lights of the city in the distance. It's a really nice looking game, and as I said, it's deep. It's a game you can come to, and if you don't understand the kind of drifting mechanics and how to trigger the drifting mechanics on it, it's not as easy as just like slapping on brake and turning and then back onto gas. There is like a method to it,
Mm.
and you can become quite, disinterested in it really quick if you don't get to grips with the controls. But once you do, it's a cracking racing game.
It is indeed, mate. Gen War is getting previewed in here. They're saying it's practically finished, and it's not bad either. It's not great. I mean, I'm not a big fan of this one, mate. Just feels clunky. You know, after playing something like Firestorm Thunderhawk 2, it just feels, especially as a first party game, because this was by Sega of America. You'd expect better. So I don't know how much you've played of this one, mate.
No, again, very little. So it's interesting that it says here the game is fairly innovative. Really? That's what I would call it. Again, saying here as the rights belong to Sega and it's not being signed up for release in the UK yet, it's unlikely it will appear over here at all.
Yeah, I don't think it does it? I can't remember.
I can't remember
My
seeing
mind's gone.
Genmore over here. Nah. Somebody
No,
will,
my mind's
it
gone
did,
blank.
but I think it did.
I
Pretty sure
thought it did.
Genmore didn't. I can see that. I
Next,
can see the artwork for the US version in my head. Like I can see it. Was it Murphy says, I can feel them, but I can't remember them.
yeah, it did. Came out in June.
Aye, June 96. There you go. Nah, it's no one I remember I've even seen on store shelves.
Yeah, I thought I'd seen a PAL version. There's one of them that didn't come out over here, but I thought Game War did. But yeah, we may have to make sure that we play that before the review comes in, mate, to see if we measure up.
Oh, aye. Look at the Japanese box art, man. That just,
Yeah,
honestly, just different gravy, the Japanese box art. It really
I
is, our
know.
cover art.
In development on the next page, mate, Clockwork Knight Puzzle, which we know never came out in the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I think we were only talking about this one a little while ago.
Yep.
It's obviously you can download an early version, a prototype on Hidden Palace. Um, but yeah, it's I'm not quite sure why it didn't come out at all. Just quietly canned, but it was an interesting looking game at the very least. And yeah, I think they were really trying to push Clockwork Knight as kind of a franchise at this point. But I don't think
Aye.
it kind of clicked on as much as they needed it to.
No. And looking at the screenshots, it's very kind of Bomberman inspired, isn't it? Looking at it.
Yeah.
Um, Lots of colourful puzzles await the amiable Pepperoucho, full of marvellous items like skittles, pencils, dice, and blocks that look like the severed heads of Lego men without the attachable hair.
They do though.
So they do.
Just need to draw some faces on there. And
Godzilla game.
Godzilla. Yep. Uh, okay, not great this one. Calls it quite bizarre in this one. You don't play as Godzilla, which would be fun. Instead, your aim is to destroy the slimy one. Yeah, it's all like isometric, and I think I've got this tucked away on the shelf back there. I got it in one of the bundles that I got, and not not amazing, unfortunately.
Godzilla on the Dreamcast, that's what you want, mate.
Well, yeah, that game gets a bad rep, but that's kind of I do enjoy that one.
Running would be a good idea. Jean
Couple,
Reno.
yes. So on the next page, Revolution X, which is pants. That I look forward to that one coming out and getting absolutely panned in the review. Really bizarre game. Aerosmith.
Shots are not selling it, man. That's just, I don't know
No.
what happened to this. That's just,
It's,
no.
it's a rail shooter.
Aye.
You got to shoot Aerosmith CDs at people. It's bizarre. And Quarterback Club. So this one's kind of like that franchise kicked off, and I think it's never actually played an awful lot of it myself, mate. Have you?
No. Quarterback Club, no.
No.
Always kind of gravitated towards like the kind of Madden games and then
Yeah.
like the 2K games later on.
Yeah, Madden and 2K, and Casper rounds it off with this section here, which that was an interesting game, but not one I spent an awful lot of time with.
No, mate, that would have literally went right over my head. I would not even have given that any. I'm here for my hardcore arcade ports. I'm about the arcade experiences. I'm not caring about Casper, mate. I'm on the next page looking at peripherals.
Yes, well, flick on one more from that. Flick on from your peripherals onto the coin operated, and we're talking about Manx TT.
See the checkpoint.
Yes, so quite a big feature in here for the coin operated section. But you little Manx. Now, what I found, mate, if you go to the bottom of page 19, it talks about the imminent Saturn conversion.
Yes.
But it talks about it's a bit of a mystery at the moment. AM3 are currently busy trying to get the actual arcade game finished, because obviously this is the preview of the arcade version. As soon as it's completed, they'll be starting work on the Saturn version, which will hopefully be available by the end of this year. So obviously that didn't quite pan out as they expected, because not only did AM3 not work on it, but it came out when in 97? Summer 97, wasn't it?
It was Tantalus.
Yes.
Who done the ports of, well, they worked alongside Psygnosis on the Wipeout ports, But I mean, for all the kind of hate that Manx TT gets because it's too short, right? It's a bloody good port. Like, Tantalus done a really good job. Again, play it with a 3D controller. So the only way to play it, because you can hold your bike, you can actually lean into bends and you can kind of sweep through like kind of chicanes. Whereas if you're playing with the D-pad, you're constantly tapping and all you see is your wee guy doing that on the bike. You don't actually get to, just tilt the analog stick just a wee bit and just watch your bike lean, and you can just feel that sweet spot and just hold it. It's brilliant, and you can flicking it through the chicanes. As I said, it actually does kind of feel like maybe you get a kind of flowing max TT. Same with like kind of most Sega racers, mate. There's a kind of sweet spot you hit where it just feels so good to
Yeah.
play. Like you just know you're nailing every bend. The controls are just in tune with the game, and I think Tantalus did a great job with even with the controls on it. So, but it's interesting that AM3 were meant to do it. And they talk about the once they finish the 8 player. There's actually a picture at the top of the previous page on page 18.
Yeah.
Look at that! Look at that machine,
It's
mate.
amazing,
Who
doesn't it?
who else was making shit like that? Nobody was making stuff like that. What we're going to do is we're going to get 8 screens, 8 copies of the game. So that's 8 boards. And what we'll do, we'll get 8 kind of motorcycle style kind of mounts for players to lean on that are motion control for them to make it feel like they're all. You imagine 8 people sitting in that
Yeah,
leaning
rocking
this.
right next to each other.
Oh,
And then
mate.
you've got that other big screen next to the next to the 8 cabinets. I don't know what that's doing, whether that's going to be watching them all.
I probably watching the race, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
that is impressive. That is just it's like a podium in itself, mate, for like
I know.
winners of a race. It's just nobody was doing shit like that. That's just Sega right there.
Yeah,
That's brilliant.
that's where the money went.
Aye. That's, where'd the budget go? Well, see those 8 bikes? How many of those did you build?
Yeah. So I thought you said you were building an arcade machine. You've built a stage.
Oh man.
Yeah, interesting there. A couple of games get a really big preview. So Scorcher gets a big preview, 2 pages. So this one, uh, so they're comparing it to Wipeout initially. It's quite funny how much Wipeout gets mentioned. You know, we're talking about it
Aye.
last issue with Wipeout getting ported, and this issue it's mentioned as well. Then you were talking about they were talking about Cyber Speedway being, you know, being the answer to Wipeout. Now they're talking about Scorcher, and
Aye.
Scorcher's a decent enough game on its own right.
Aye.
Um,
I think the screenshots of it, I don't know how much they'd actually played of Scorcher before writing this preview, because while visually I can see why they're making that comparison, it plays nothing like Wipeout, but
yeah,
it's a decent wee game in its own right. It runs at a good pelt. It's devilishly fucking difficult. It's
yeah,
like
it's tough.
it's a kind of racing platformer. It's bizarre. And like you've got to memorize the jumps because there's like
Yeah,
some sections where like there's like 3 or 4 gaps. You've got to kind of bounce in between, get your timing right. But the thing that always made me laugh, mate, if you've ever had a cat, right, and you used to buy those wee plastic balls that had the bells inside them, mate, that's what that looks like. Look,
yeah. No, I know
it's
what you
like
mean.
across the floor, watch a cat skate after it.
No,
So,
I had a hamster and it had a ball that we used to put it in. That's what it reminds me of.
so, but I mean, again, the kind of level of detail on it. I mean, if you zoom in that kind of picture, that what page are we on here? The Sculpture one's 121. That kind of main screenshot. I mean, you can see like the craft and the wee kind of rider, his grey and orange suit
Mm,
that he's on it, and also that green thing's a kind of like shield or whatever it is. It's sticking him to the track, but no, it's a good enough racer in its own right. And as I say, it's more a racing platformer than an out and out racing
yeah.
game.
Yeah, so unique racer. So it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely worth people checking out. And yeah, I think it's pretty clear in here, like you said, that they're just looking at the footage on this one. They haven't been gone hands on with it yet. So it'd be interesting. I don't remember what they say about it, so hopefully we'll find out pretty soon.
I'm sure I featured that in my best Sega Saturn Racers video. I'm sure I put Scotcher in there.
I think you may have done.
Uh,
I have to revisit that, mate. It's like I was saying, I can't remember what I said about Marvel superheroes in mine.
made that many videos, mate. We can't remember them all.
No. A mock is next. This one I haven't played an awful lot of, but always thought it looked interesting. I think I played it for a bit and I couldn't quite get into it, but I probably just need to give it a little bit more time. I thought it was visually, I thought it was okay. It's talking about how this used to be a 32x game. So it's mentioned on a few of these now. It's mentioned on score. I think it was mentioned on World Cup Golf. It's mentioned on the Muck, and it was mentioned on another one as well. So there's a lot of abandoned 32X projects coming over to the Saturn now.
Not abandoned Virtua Racing and Star Wars Arcade and giving us those on Saturn. Hey?
Well, just abandon the whole bloody thing. But yeah, I don't know. Have you played much of Muck, mate?
I have not, mate. It's not one that I've tried. And looking at the screenshots, I don't think I will. I can see on here, it's underwater based. Big giant fish, but never played it, mate. It's not on any of my ODEs either, and I don't think it will be anytime soon.
No, I think I'm going to give it another try. I didn't quite get into it last time, but yeah, I'll give it a go and I'll report back.
Sorry, mate, I've got a new video. A mock Saturn hidden gem, big giant letters.
On the next preview, mate, on page 24 is from our pals at Ocean. So anyone that's been playing the old
Mate, come on. Come on. You skipped a fucking good advert. Do you want a reason to buy our TV that can swivel?
This is true. All right.
Mitsubishi, you can tilt too. In fact, with a Mitsubishi small screen TV, there's not a lot you can't do. If you want to hook up your games console or VCR and get the best sound and picture quality around, you can. Want to do it while wearing an exclusive Sega Bug t-shirt? Great. Buy this. Great. Buy this TV now and it's yours. So what are you waiting around for? Get down to your local Mitsubishi dealer and swivel yourself silly.
Has to mention the SCART port on there.
That model features
bone of contention among the Saturn community.
That's it. Oh, aye. SCART socket with RGB input, stereo headphone socket, tilt and swivel base, stereo playback. 90s tech, man. What a time.
What a time to be alive. It's a lot more interested than the next preview, I think, anyway. Yeah, I've got True Pinball. It's a decent enough pinball game, but it's just pinball in it, mate. I don't have much more to say about this one. It's a nice pinball game.
I loved Pinball Dreams and Pinball Fantasies on the Amiga. They were brilliant 2D pinball games. Really, really intricate tables. Like it was screens and screens worth. You know, you never felt like you were struggling to. There was no kind of stutter. It was a really smooth game. Obviously, this is a lot more kind of advanced than that. The kind of isometric view of the tables, there's that sense of depth in them. But again, it's not something I've played on Saturn. Is True Pinball, but I did enjoy the pinball games on the Amiga. So it's games and kind of genres and whatnot that I played on Amiga. I just kind of like abandoned whenever I came over to Saturn. I was like, I'm getting arcade games.
Yeah, I mean,
don't need pinball.
No, it's one of the staples, isn't it? I mean, it's just like, why are we still making all these pinball games? We had some great pinball games on the Mega Drive, and the Saturn's got some fantastic pinball games. I mean, Last Gladiator is fantastic. It's just you don't really have an awful lot to say about them because they're just pinball. Some of them have really good soundtracks.
Some of them have a really authentic nudge feature. Moving on.
And then one that I am a big fan of, Baku Animal, the World Zookeeping Contest. So big double page spread on this one. It's I don't think that this game gets enough credit because I think it's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. It looks great. And it's basically just Puzzle Fighter before Puzzle Fighter. And the only reason that Puzzle Fighter is more popular is because it's Street Fighter. You know, if this had Street Fighter characters in, people would be saying it's the best game ever. It's the same game. It's the same game. Instead of matching jewels and then like detonating jewels that blow them up, it's just food and animal heads. But it's the same rules.
It's so packed full of charm into it. It's brilliant. It really is. Like, and it's so satisfying. It's never you get like a big chain of like the right
Yeah.
food, letting the big head comes like, just destroy it. Oh. I mean, talking about it, obviously, I'm pretty sure Baku Baku is a STV game as
Yes,
well.
it is. Yeah.
Aye.
Yes, it is.
I mean, have you played the Game Gear version?
I have played the Game Gear version. Yeah, I was
Oh,
playing it when we got the EverDrive for it. It was one of the first games I loaded
yeah.
up.
How good is that port?
Yeah, it's brilliant.
It's no right to be that good at all on the Game Gear, but it's absolutely outstanding. One of the
Very
kind of
clever
last, aye,
because
one
you
of
have
the
the
last
little
releases as
CPU
well.
screen in the bottom right corner, don't you?
Aye, aye. That's I think it's one of the last releases for the Game Gear as well. But just no right to look as close to the Saturn arcade version as it does. But aye, it's one of my favourite puzzle games. And again, I don't play a lot of puzzle games. Like had columns with my Game Gear whenever I got that. But was never a big Tetris fan. Never had a Game Boy. Never really got the whole Tetris buzz. Or bought into the hype in that. But no, Baku Baku is just chock full of charm.
Yeah.
Again, devilishly clever, addictive as well. So no, that's a real favourite of mine.
Yeah, me too. I love everything about it. Love the look. It's so sort of surreal and cutesy and weird. And then there's the sound. The music's fantastic. And then you got the sound effects every time. You got the noise of the animals go when they're eating something. And then when you drop a bunch of blocks on your side or their side, you go. Oh! It's a brilliant game. Absolutely. Me and my sister used to play it for ages, absolutely ages. And she used to whip me, and I'd get so irate because I'd try and do all these on all set everything up. So I'm like, right, so if I set the bananas here, and if I put a dog between the bunkie and the bananas and stack loads of bones here, and then stab it so that all I need to do is drop a panda on, and then it sets the whole chain off. And I try and plan it out like that. And my sister would just do it and would just whip my ass. Like, how are you doing this? You're not even playing it properly.
You're getting all
And she just
strategic. She's
laughed.
just dropping shit that I just put in
Yeah,
random places. Oh, brilliant. A great
yeah,
game.
yeah. It really is. So, yeah, I can't remember what Sega Saturn Magazine give this one, but be keen to see how it turns out. But it's AM3 that develop it, so
Hmm.
really quality game. Moving on, mate, to Siberia. I don't have much to say about Siberia. It's not one that I've really played much at all. I know that
Never
there's
heard it, mate.
I know there's a bunch of them around now. It's one of these that's never really interested me whatsoever, unfortunately. So I don't have anything to say about it.
Takes
FMV
us
game,
on.
isn't it?
Aye. I mean, this is about as much as an FMV story, kind of attempting kind of doing story through FMV kind of cutscenes. Doesn't look anything spectacular. Not anything I would have kind of gravitated towards. Bound to a chair and tortured with electric shocks. Not a nice bit. Yes, well, that's all I've got to say about that. Advert for True Pinball by Ocean, which we've just kind of spoken about.
Yep,
And then we're on to the letters, mate.
we are, mate.
So I'll let you go first on this one. What's your letter of choice from the kind of 2 pages that we've got here?
So yeah, I was going through it. There's a few in here that kind of caught my eye. There's still people talking about the SCART cable and about the price drop. I've chosen to pick out Sega should concentrate. So dear Sega Magazine. So obviously this was written back when it was Sega Magazine a few months ago, it would seem. I just want to know a few things about the Mega Drive 32X. Is it good or bad? I have wanted to buy one for some time, but the lineup of software is a bit dodgy. For instance, Capcom, the inventors of Street Fighter, Darkstalkers, X-Men, and the forthcoming Marvel superheroes, said they are not making any games for the 32X. They are just concentrating on the Saturn, and all the 32X is going to have is Virtua Fighter. I've not even heard of the release date for Mortal Kombat 3, and the company that makes Rayman, Ubisoft, Sega Saturn Magazine, have cancelled that game. So yeah, they had the 32X port was planned and then cancelled. The 32X is a 32-bit console like the Saturn and PlayStation, and it hasn't even got games as good as the Mega Drive, its little brother. I reckon that Sega should concentrate a bit more on the 32X. And the last thing I heard is that Sega has signed a deal with SNK, the makers of the Neo Geo games, that games like Virtua Fighter will be on Neo Geo and King of Fighters on the Saturn, but only the Saturn. So the response is, well, what do you mean the 32X only has Virtua Fighter? Oh dear me. It only has a brilliant conversion of probably the best fighting game in the world. What a shame. My heart bleeds for you. But on the other hand, there's a bit of a 32X software deficit at the moment. We're not entirely sure what Sega's long-term plans are, but X-Men out early next year looks corking. Have you seen X-Men on the 32X?
No.
Oh, it looks awful.
Oh,
A prototype came out. It looks really, really quite dodgy.
well,
The animation is like it's got Rogue and Bishop walking around and like they just look so static. It's all pre-rendered and stuff, and they can only it looks awful. Um, I don't know what Sega's long-term plans are because this was kind of me at this point because I've seen that all I wanted was Virtua Fighter, and a 32X seemed like the way to get to that. And then by this point, Virtua Fighter's just come out, and I'm seeing Virtua Fighter 2 on the Sega Saturn, and nothing else come out. I think Calibri just came out, didn't it? And I think we don't get Spider-Man, but I do think we get, is it Stellar Assault or Dark Side? One of the two is one of the last games, but it just kind of peters out. So yeah, it feels like Sega Saturn Magazine should just be saying, just get a bloody Saturn for crying out loud on this one.
mate, the thing about this letter that cracked me up, right, is whenever they put the word Ubisoft for the creators of Rayman and they put SSM because they've added that, right?
Yeah.
What makes me chuckle is that he's written to a gaming magazine, right? And it's went, for instance, Capcom, and in brackets, the inventors of Street Fighter, Darkstalkers, X-Men, and the forthcoming Marvel superheroes. That's not Sega Saturn magazine. And then at the end, SNK, the makers of the Neo Geo games. It's like they're gaming journalists, mate. They know who these companies are. It's like you don't need to tell them. It's like, oh man, alive.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting that one I thought because yeah, as I say, I was in a similar position. And that point, it was kind of like, right, well, no, it's 32X is off the table. Let's save up for a Sega Saturn. It's already dropped to £300. There's a few people in it saying, why has it dropped to £300 when I bought it for 400? Um, Obviously, you do get the feeling that a lot of people are getting a bit pissed off with Sega. You know, they've done this 32X, abandoned it. They've launched a Saturn for 400 quid, slashed 100 quid off the price within a few months
Aye.
because the PlayStation comes out. You can kind of understand why people got a little bit angry.
Aye, just a bit, mate.
So, mate, which one were you going to read out?
So I have chosen No Way Was I Paying. Dear Sega Mag, again, probably just written in before the rebrand, or whether they've just maybe,
Mm.
just decide to keep calling it that. I am the proud owner of a new Sega Saturn. At first, there was no way I was paying £400 for a games console. So when I saw the Sega advert showing the Saturn at £300, I decided to go out and buy one. This is the bit that cracks me up. I went to about 5 different shops trying to get a discount as I was paying cash, but had no luck. I ended up buying the machine for £299, so I saved £1. Yes, well done, mate. And as there is no game with the Saturn for this price, I also bought VF Remix. Imagine my reaction when I got home, opened the packaging, and found Virtua Fighter included with the Saturn. Now, I really like Remix. The graphics are amazing. Should I keep VF Remix or sell one of them? And what games should I buy for Christmas? So they reply, you'd be lucky to find a place offering a discount for cash these days, Darren. All those places make more money out of credit, keeping their loot in banks and racking up interest on credit. It's a cyber money society these days, you know. Cash gets you out. Anyway, it's probably a bad idea to suggest VF2 for Christmas, giving your surfeit of fighting games. You should sell VF original flavor, by the way. Boo! Wrong advice. But Virtua Cop is a good bet, and Rally is excellent if you can wait until January. Basically, you can't go wrong with either. Now, the recommendation to sell VF original and keep remix is appalling, right? But the reason why I picked this letter, right? Who's old enough to remember getting into shops and going, if will you give me a discount for cash, right? My uncle used to do this all the time, man. I remember going to like hi-fi stores and like even Dixon's or Comet. He would buy like a telly or a VCR or anything like hi-fi, any bit of equipment he'd buy. He would always lean on the counter and go, "Do us a deal for cash." Right? It's so bad, but even better than that, right? Whenever in my old work, there was a wee guy who worked with me. It was only in his mid-20s at the time, right? And for me to hear this, somebody saying this, and he was buying his then new girlfriend, right, an Apple Watch. And he turns around to me in a funny wee voice. He goes, "Here, mate, see if I go to the Apple shop and I buy an Apple Watch, think they do me a deal for cash?" Mate, I nearly fell on the floor. This was like this was like just before COVID. This is like about a couple of years before. So you talk about 2017, 2018. Oh man. I was like, I can't believe somebody that young's actually heard the asking a shop. Imagine going into the Apple shop and asking you do me a deal for cash in 2017 or 2018. Oh man. So that's why I was kind of amused at it. I thought I've witnessed the brass neck of offering retailers, opening the wallet up and showing the notes there, do me a deal for cash. It's like so bad. And to be fair, sometimes like some of the shops would actually do it. Like the big chain stores wouldn't, but like kind of like independent kind of like hi-fi retailers, for example, like in the city centre. Uncle was buying like a new amp or speakers or something like that, and he would do it. They would maybe knock like 50 quid off or something, but it was like the big chain stores just used to some wee guy who's only in there like at the weekend, probably like minimum wage at the time, not giving a shit, man, working for the big corporation, paying his bills. So it's like, do my deal for cash? No, sorry, mate, I'm no head office. I can't make that decision. So I kind of that wee letter tickled me because it just reminded me of the bygone era, mate. Days a deal for cash. No anymore.
Yeah, I don't hear about that much. I hear about it for like services and stuff. If someone's like, I've had plumbers come over and go, yeah, well, it's 250, but do it for 170 if you're paying cash. But obviously they're just doing a little dodgy cash in hand sort of thing.
Aye,
But I don't
actually,
know
I
how you.
sometimes used to get garages would do it as well. They
Yeah,
would give you a cash price or a card price, and if it was cash, you clearly knew it was
yeah,
just getting swept under. Wee bit of a dodge, but aye, big
yeah. I
big
don't.
stores, mate, no chance.
No, absolutely not. I don't know how you do it with any sort of goods that you buy. But there we go, mate. Yeah, it's a bygone era. I mean, it's not like they had chip and pin back then, was it?
No.
The alternative was what, check,
Oh, but mate,
credit
remember?
card.
Oh, this is we're off on a tangent now. But do you remember that whenever you paid by debit cards, right, or
Yeah.
credit card, so you get this big stupid machine out with a slip, and
It's like,
then you get a slip to
pumping a
sign.
shotgun. Yeah.
Aye. Oh man. Now it's just like, oh, double tap your button or show your
Yeah.
face and beep at you. You know what I mean? God. Aye. Remember that? No chip and pin, no contactless, all manual.
Yeah. So after the letters, Q&A, some interesting stuff in there. Special reserve. Every time I look at these, mate, I just kid in the candy store looking at these.
Oh, they're just omnipresent, aren't they, mate? It's just like they're everywhere. They were brilliant. They were so good. Like, Oh man, look at the prices.
Yeah. And a supermodel Kelly mouse back, top quality, absolutely free.
I know. Now here's the thing. See that Guyver 1 VHS, right?
Yes.
I had that because my uncle bought something. I don't know what it was that he bought off a special reserve, but he picked that. Clearly something not quite right there. That you didn't pick your supermodel Kelly mouse mat there, uncle. But aye, there we go, mate. Special reserve. But I mean,
Yeah. And then
the showcase.
showcase. So a massive showcase here for Sega Rally. Obviously, you know, the you may think you're dreaming, but Sega are ready to give you a chance to do a Lombarda. Part of the free game Saturn Renaissance Rally Championship heralds a new technical level of brilliance. So
Issue 3, and they're talking about a renaissance already.
console's,
I mean,
console's only just a year old in Japan.
like renaissance. Like, but mate, this is an incredible feature.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah. It's quite funny that when they're talking about the cars, they got the copy underneath the opposite cars. If you've noticed that, so it's not the Invicar at all. It's the Lancia Delta, and it's underneath the Celica. And then if you go onto the other next page, you've got the Toyota. So it says Toyota Celica
oh, so it
underneath the
does.
Delta. I knew what
Actually
they
what
meant. I knew what they meant.
a bit obvious, isn't it? I mean, big red Toyota logo on the side should give it away. But
Yeah.
what's interesting, mate, and what I've only noticed, in fact, give me 2 seconds, right? Back after this is relevant, right? Because I'm pretty sure these images are from this flyer. Give me 2 seconds.
The Sega guys will return after these messages.
Yep, they are. Right. We're back. We're back, people. Right. So those layouts
Ah.
are from the Japanese What's Next flyer.
Oh wow.
These were flyers that went out to retailers in Japan to let them know about what was kind of coming, and it's with lots of details about the game. Again, Japan gets all the good shit, but that's what I did notice. Never I seen before coming on, like the images that they do for each of the tracks, those little kind of maps. Yeah. Those are the exact same. Look.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, because
so
they've got whether it's they've got all the turns, haven't they? Easy left, easy right.
Aye, yep. And obviously it goes on about 2P battle, ghost mode, time attack, third car, and all that kind of stuff. But that was the main thing. I'm like, I recognise those maps. I'm like, it's off this. So there we go.
I did laugh in the kind of the opening page of the feature because it says, of course, sacrifices have been made. The most noticeable is the loss of the rear view mirror. This has its compensatory factors in that most home TV screens aren't really big enough to accommodate it anyway, which is a big load of cope. I mean,
isn't it? It's so much cope going on there.
But it's this bit that made me laugh. It was like, and it makes the game a little bit tougher because it's tricky to cut off any potential overtakers. So if any of those CPU cars are overtaking you, you're screwed anyway. You can't have any. There would be any cars. Shouldn't be any cars overtaking you because you're in a bad way if they're on.
Yes, as experience has taught us, the AI cars in Sega Rally are nothing but markers. They exist purely to let you know how far along you are, how quick you're going, and to be used for potential speed bumps as well. But if they're passing you, if you're having to cut them off using the rear view mirror, you ain't making the next checkpoint, mate.
Yeah. The only exception might be the lakeside course from the rival car.
Yeah,
you know, because it happens to me all the time. I start careening off the first banks on that in that track, and then all of a sudden the next car's right behind me.
And they don't overtake you, mate. They just barge you at the road.
It's too narrow, isn't it?
The road.
Whoa!
That's you going, but that's funny,
Yeah,
making it
just do.
sound a bit more challenging than it really is. You know,
Yeah,
jeez, oh,
they're not going to try and overtake you. They're not going to try and cut inside.
nah,
I
no,
mean, I never once missed the rear view mirror. I'm not sure. I think it
no.
was more kind of just a bit of trickery just to make it visually impressive. I don't know
I
what the
think,
real
it was Model
benefit
2
of it.
Flex by Sega, wasn't it? It was just to
Yeah, it
add to the
was.
realism. That's all. It was just
Because didn't
what
Ridge Racer have one?
I think it did. Um,
The
I think it
arcade
did.
game, I mean.
What I think what I did miss for the arcade game and the Saturn game, which I thought would have been good to have still, was the wee goal line.
Yeah,
You know, to kind of know how close to the end you were. I mean, obviously, as you kind of get more experience with the game, like you know how close you're getting. But
yeah.
I still think that was quite a good wee visual aid as well. But again, how taxing would it be to draw a line and have a wee car move along it? I don't know, but kind of nitpick this port, mate, because it's of course absolutely
That's
sensational.
perfection.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
just the best game on the system. Period. That's just
one of the best games.
it's the best game. It's the best game, mate.
So it's a comprehensive
As they have.
showcase. There's an awful lot of stuff in here. But the other thing that I wanted to kind of pick out on here, mate, is the interview with AM3. It's just a short one. It's only like 5 questions, but it does, it does talk to Mizuguchi himself on
Yeah.
this one.
Excuse me.
So, talking about how they didn't use SGI, how did they capture the feeling of realism? They talk about Mr. Fujimoto went to the Asia Pacific Indonesian rally for 3 days and studied the cars. So yeah, it's a great feature. I get the feeling that they wanted to put this in the last issue because remember we had that 4-page feature on
Yes.
Sega in the
Aye.
last issue, which kind of didn't really have an awful lot in there. I think they were just waiting until they could review it. Obviously, this is the issue of the review, and they're making a big deal of it, and rightly so. Rightly so. This is a defining moment for the Saturn.
Now,
Um,
this also gives away a Sega Saturn magazine at it, right? Because they didn't speak to Mizuguchi for this interview. Because those little screenshots there are taken from the interview disc that came out in Japan that Panda used in his documentary. So they have just basically made up questions and then got the answers pretty much out of that interview. So
Rumbled.
again, rumbled, Mike, rumbled. So because this is all stuff that's in those interviews,
Mm.
So it's interesting. Again, this is all stuff that you can only piece together, after the
You'd
fact,
be none the
decades later.
wiser in
No,
1996.
they spoke to him. Ooh, it's like such is our power that we have summoned AM3 to our portal via a disc and questioned and they interrogated him. It was not an option for them to refuse. I think he would have done. It's like so. That is what that's taken from. Like, those screenshots are
Oh
from
dear,
they're from that disc. They're from that Japanese interview disc. There you
cheeky
go.
gits.
That's it, mate. No hard that against them, but
No, not at all. Next feature, mate. I really loved seeing this one get its day in the sun. Guardian Heroes. Nice and big feature here. Nice bit of opening copy on here. Talk about it starts talking about Japanese cartoons because that's what I was talking about earlier when we were talking about Cities of Gold. They're talking about Dogtanyan and the Three Muskehounds. And
remember
Cities of
that.
Gold is mentioned here.
Jeez, that's a memory unlock.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to sing that, mate. I've got
No, no.
limits.
I thought about it and
I
I
heard
decided
it.
against.
It's staying in there.
Yeah,
Guardian Heroes, man. That's like what a game.
indeed. Yeah, it talks about the versus mode, 6 players, and most of the rest is just talking about the main characters that you start off with. You got, Han. It's name spelled differently in this preview. Randy, Nicola on here, but I think her name's Nicole in the full game. I'm pretty sure it's Nicole. And then Jinjiro as well. And it talks about the bodyguard. And
They're no Sing Dog Tanning, but you'll break out into some Whitney Houston. What's going on here?
um,
Went to
so
Ali
the
McCoy there, didn't I?
yeah,
What's going on here? Absolutely sensational.
yeah.
Oh.
They've kind of confused the Golden Warrior with the with G Silver, the boss on here. I think they've got a picture of the Golden Warrior, but in the top right they've got the FMV of the boss, who's a android coded by. It's a bonkers game. This it's absolutely bonkers.
Good old
That's why I
treasury.
love it. You can fight that. You can fight the force. End up fighting the forces of heaven, hell. Fight robots. fight gods at the end. Absolutely brilliant game.
Good old treasure.
Yeah. And they talk about if a full-scale platform beat 'em up wasn't enough to keep your blood lost satiated. Guardian Heroes also includes a one-on-one beat 'em up. Well, I say one-on-one, but you can actually have 6 players. And I've talked before about how we played this for 12 full hours between me and my mates.
Nobody played the N64, mate. That's it. Once this turned up, that was it.
As soon as Guardian Heroes kicked in, no one was touching that N64. Well, I'll go into that. Probably retell that story another time.
Well, the next feature can just get scammed right past.
Yeah, so we talked last issue about the fact that they weren't too enthused about getting to Shinden on the Saturn, and now we've got a feature on it. Now they did say, can the Saturn do a PlayStation port, but I don't think they really address it in here.
Mate,
There's another one where
how does Toshinden deserve a 6-page feature?
No, it's another one where it's just talking about the character profiles.
Aye, I do feel that this middle section of the mag is a lot of padding.
Yeah,
there's a lot of padding going on here. This didn't need to be 100 pages. This issue, it really didn't.
No.
Could you say, mate, that to Shinden it's literally like a little kind of bit about, it says here. Punters have come to expect from a new league of 3D one-on-one beat-em-ups. Each character has a vast range of moves to exploit, blah, blah, blah. Just kind of the general kind of layout of what is a 3D fighting game these days. Then, a couple of FMV screenshots overlaid with "you want some." Again, just doesn't really make sense in the
it's
context.
A whole page, isn't it? A whole page.
That's one page, mate. So it's a lot of ink to say nothing. It's like, and then it's just literally character bios. That's it. It's just, they tell you nothing really about the game or the quality of the port. It's just, which isn't good.
No.
just no. And then the next showcase isn't much better because it's FIFA 96.
Yeah. Yeah, Rob Wright throws his philosophical eye in its direction.
Although when the seagull follows the trawler, it is because he thinks the fish are going to be thrown. What a press conference that was, man. Oh, Kung Fu kick a Crystal Palace fan in the chest after being sent off. Good old Eric. Goes on about seagulls and trawlers and fish. My God.
Legend.
Oh, mate, I miss.
I can remember that all clear as day.
Oh, mate.
That whole deal.
See 90s Premier League. See like never when the Premier League started to about the mid 2000s, man. That was peak. That was just phenomenal. Like,
yeah, they talk about in here somewhere about the fact that Blackburn got tanked in the Champions League.
But I mean, FIFA 96, man. I remember getting it. My uncle bought it, and again came in that big navy blue EA case. But I remember not long after he bought it, he went into there was an old hi-fi / home cinema shop in Hope Street in Glasgow, just across for the entrance to Central Station, and they had the PlayStation version of that game running, and I remember watching it go through its motions, and even then I remember going, this is a lot smoother than the Saturn version. The Saturn version is
Mm.
a real struggle to play. Let's see, controls wise, always felt like you were fighting it.
Yeah.
Like players would kind of run by the ball, the kind of depth perception was off. You never knew if you were going to run in it, you kind of take the ball or tackle the player. Or like shooting wasn't too bad once you kind of get the hang of it. But they made the whole big deal about the virtual stadium and all that, which,
Yeah.
pardon me, I don't think ever came to anything again after that. It was like there's a big bit in the intro about the virtual stadium,
Yeah.
and it's like, what is it?
Yeah, but every football game's got a stadium in it. So,
Aye, I don't think they were kind of trying to play on the fact that it had like kind of crowd sounds or it was kind of more realistic, but I just never enjoyed it at all. Like I had
no.
rented or like my uncle had rented out what do you call it? Jeez, oh, in my head. That's terrible. International victory goal. Jeez, oh.
Yeah.
And that was way more fun to play than this. Way more fun to play than this.
It still is.
Aye. It's just, this is probably, I would say, the worst version of FIFA like I've ever played. And I even include
version.
Well, FIFA Road to World Cup 98. Is it 98?
Yeah, 98 Road to World Cup. It's a brilliant game.
Aye. But it's like
97's okay.
Aye.
But this is awful.
What's the last one in the Game Gear? Is it FIFA 96?
Possibly,
95?
yeah. Might have been, it would be 96 came on the Game Gear.
Aye. And the ball's like a pinball. Like, mate, you're kicking a pinball about. I mean, I know Maradona could keep you up with golf balls and all that kind of stuff, but the original FIFA, the Game Gear, was a brilliant game. And then the next one was just like, what the hell is this? But no, FIFA 96 on the Saturn, you were even worse than that. It was just so bad.
The 32X version is 10 times worse than the Saturn version. It's appalling.
Seriously.
It's really bad. Really bad.
Jeez. That's possible.
FIFA 96 was on everything, wasn't it? It was on it was the first one they put it on everything. Obviously they're stretched far too thin. But yeah, it's a bad game on the 32X. A really bad game. But there we go. I spied ahead on this one and saw what they reviewed it as, mate. I won't share it for now. We'll get to the review downstream, but yeah.
Was FIFA 96 reviewed in this issue?
It's in another issue. I think it's the next issue.
All right. Right, we'll keep.
I was just curious.
Aye, I'll not look right. Aye, I'll keep my reaction for that whenever it actually happens, right? Because that'll be interesting. Right, I'll not look.
And then we've got Murder Mysteria Suspense. So this is Mysteria Realms of Law, aka Riglord Saga in Japan, and this is one of my this is one of the ones that I would really love to say a lot more on. I've played a couple of hours of it and always thought, when you're talking about a backlog and you talk about a bunch of games that you want to play, this is on there for me. I've played a chunk of it and thought I need to put a good 20 hours or something into this, and I just don't have it. But I did enjoy what I played. It's kind of like a tactical RPG, like Shining Force. Ironically, I'm playing through the Shining Force games at the moment, all the way back from the Mega Drive game. Actually downloaded the Game Gear game, the translated one, to play. But I've got about 6 of them still to get through before I actually get to Mysteria. So yeah, I wish I had more to say on this one. But it's not an amazing RPG. It looks quite ugly at times, the way that the digitized sprites go on the 3D landscapes. Obviously, when Shining Force 3 does it a couple of years from now, it looks amazing. And here it just looks a bit looks a bit messy, looks a bit scrappy. But it's a solid game, and it definitely has its fans. I don't know if this is one that you've played an awful lot of, mate.
I have not, mate. Again, RPGs just weren't my thing at all. It's like Panzer Dragoon Saga. I played it because it was Panzer Dragoon.
Yeah.
Again, and it's not even one that I'll look at it and go, I'd like to go back and play it. It's just, it's not. I don't say it's a bad game. It's just not something that kind of interests me personally. You get a wee
I've always
physical
wanted to
copy
play
there.
it, mate. I've got a physical Japanese copy here. Um, only costs a couple of quid. You get the manual. I've got the spine card in here, but you get so much stuff in here. And my favourite bit of all, which is the reason why I just grabbed it, is you get a map of the world
Brilliant.
on there. You know, we used to be a society. We used to get stuff like that in your games. Now you don't even get a game a lot of the time. You just get a code.
That's it, mate. It's so you were
Yeah,
saying earlier as well about whenever you were out checking out games, that'll be alien to people. Like,
yeah,
remember, you just used to go and look at games.
yeah.
Remember, go to the shops, I'm going to go and check out the games. Like, he would just stand there, like, getting the case on.
That's why you'd read the back of the box.
It's like an alien concept now, mate. Just go and check out games. No,
Yeah,
uh,
indeed, mate.
change
So,
days.
yeah. So yeah, I'd love to have more to say about Mystaria. Ask me in a couple of years when I finally get round to it. I don't think
And
we'll spend too much time on the next two showcases, mate. It's just talking about
no, this
the
is
players' guides for Virtua Cop and Virtua Fire 2. Obviously, milking the big three as much as they possibly can.
yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I think the Virtua Cop one comes off as really lazy, given that they reviewed it and had a feature on the previous issue. I
Hmm.
don't quite know why it needed yet another showcase of 2 pages, but the Virtua Fighter 2 Player's Guide, that's actually really useful. Um, because whenever you think back to like people buying player's guides for games,
Yeah,
like they've literally given you like all the special moves, counter attacks, and throws for each character, plus a little bit about each character, their kind of background and their kind of fighting style. So you've got all of them are covered. Each page with a beautiful 3D render of each character from the
yeah,
game. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, again, you're getting that for free in a £3 magazine.
yeah,
You think forward what players' guides were going for later on. Um, Again, no frills, just lists all the special moves, and it's actually quite daunting whenever you see like how many there is.
yeah,
Which just rams home Virtua Fighter 2's realism and the depth in its fighting mechanics. So, no, again, you're right, mate. They're kind of really padding out the big three, really going all in on them. The Virtua
mm,
Cop showcase, as I said, feels like a waste of time. But that player's guide for Virtua Fighter 2. And see if you're new to Saturn as well. Like, see if you've only recently picked one up and you've got VF2. I mean, by all means, download issue 3 of Sega Saturn magazine and just save those pages because it's a great place to start learning the characters' moves.
and the game looks phenomenal in these pictures as well.
Oh, mate, they've done great with the screenshots. They really have.
Hmm.
Absolutely brilliant. Superb.
Absolutely superb, mate. Right, it's on to the reviews now. So, obviously, a few of these have been covered in features already. So, Sega Rally, mate, let's go straight to the score 97%. You know, seems a bit high to me.
Graphics 97, sound 91, playability 95, last ability 96. Let's go to James for his score. Graphics 100, sound 100, playability 100, last ability 110.
Yeah, the sound being 91 is actually quite surprising on, how
Aye.
good the soundtrack is, how iconic it is, the detail, the engine sounds, how clear they are, and the sound of gravel, so realistic.
Aye.
The iconic navigator voice, all of it. 91 seems a bit stingy, but obviously 97 overall. Can't
Aye.
argue with that. One of the
I
best
mean,
games ever made.
last ability 96 in the context of when it reviewed and the content it's got is probably too high.
Well, I
Now,
mean,
nowadays, the last ability, we now know that the depth is in the score at the time attack, getting your best time, mastering the bends and the lines in and out of corners. But back then, you had like a split screen 2 player mode, and you could edit cars to use in time attack or practice. That was it.
I don't
You
know
know,
how. I'm trying to think back to Panda's um, retrospective, but his documentary. But the arcade game had obviously been around for nearly a year at this point, and I think the time chasing had already kind of began in earnest on that, hadn't it? So maybe they had that sort of insight then.
possibly, aye.
You know that the arcade game has had this lasting appeal for the last 12 months. People are still trying to beat times on it. You know, if that applies to the Saturn game,
Mm.
much like we see it now, it's not just four tracks and three cars.
Nah,
It's a
it's
lifelong obsession.
30 years later, I'm still playing it. You know what I mean? It's like, and it's all muscle memory. That's the thing. And like
Mm,
the thing about it is like there's so many variants in and out of each bend that if you're just at the tiniest bit out, what you think is muscle memory isn't correct because you've not positioned your car in the right line by a couple of millimeters, like corners, like the hairpin on mountain. It's just you've you've got to get that at a certain angle in a certain way to get in and out as fast as you can. It's just there's so much depth in it. It's
I mean,
um
today on Twitter, it was. I think it might have been the last couple of days actually. The conversation struck up again. I think Jeff's Retro Gaming was saying that he's never been able to get closer than fourth at the start of the mountain stage. And then they were getting into conversation with midlife crisis and insane mega CD tweets about the best way to attack it, manual versus automatic, and I don't want to learn a manual, but that's the best way to play. All these
yeah,
conversations are still ongoing today, and people having
aye,
them. And we've talked about this game so much, but I wasn't involved in that. But I was just observing and watching these people talking about the game at this level again,
aye,
30 years
aye.
later. It's amazing that it still ignites that sort of discussion, that passion, and these people wanting to, still seeking ways to improve. 30 years later, it's amazing. It's magical, mate. Absolutely magical.
Well, here's the thing. I didn't start using manual transmission until I got my
Yeah.
Saturn back. You know, I was quite happy with how I played on automatic. And then it was kind of again, it must have been like an X discussion or Twitter as it was at the time, and people talking about like in a manual, and I tried it, and it took a bit to get used to. But see, whenever like, manual transmission is just it's a way to go. See, like using gear
Mm.
braking, it's another level. Like it's the only way to retain high speed through certain bends. It's just so satisfying, man. See, just certain corners like that last bend on desert. See, you just hit that second. Not it literally had to be. You get to the marker, the second zebra, fire the nose across for them, but the grass embankment on the left, drop it to third, and just hug it and let the car just glide round as it naturally straightens up back into fourth. Whew, straight up.
Mm.
It's just
Yeah.
there's all these little kind of nuances to it. And again, that's just Sega games, Sega
Yeah.
arcade games. They're designed in a way that you can just walk in, stick a quid in, play it, have fun. But if you dedicate yourself to it, if you've got deep enough pockets in the arcade, or if you've got it in the home version and you put the time into it, you scratch the surface, mate. You're like, oh, what's that underneath?
Yeah.
Just a totally different game.
There's so much to it. As I was saying to you the other day, I put it on a free lap arcade mode because I was obviously the 30th anniversary soundtrack's been out for a little while on Spotify, and I was listening to that, and you know, it reminded me of when listening to like the full options theme and the menu themes and all that. It reminded me when I was messing around with like all the options, messing around with like all the car settings and everything, and I was just like, these days I kind of just load it up and jump in for a quick one lap
Aye.
arcade. It was like, I just want to spend some real time with it. It's such an incredible piece of software. It's easily one of the greatest games ever made for a reason. It's just got a magic about it. Everything is just so near perfect on there. It's just magic, mate. Absolute magic. 97% as close to perfect as you can probably get.
Aye. That was Raddy and Automatic. That
Yeah.
no, wasn't it? Was it? Oh, he's the next
Yeah,
one.
it
It
was.
was Rad.
It
It
was
was
Rad.
Rad. Aye.
Yeah,
Aye.
Rad did this one. A
Yeah.
raging beano of a game. Okay. unfortunately, F1 Live information has to follow that, and we talked about this in the previous issue. Um, but yeah, I think 80% is fair. Um, can't envy a racing game coming in the same issue as Sega Rally.
Aye, it's a bit harsh, isn't it? It's like
Yeah.
if Sega Rally wasn't in this issue, then 80%, you go, it's a good racing game, eh? See, we spoke about it before. It's a serviceable F1 game, but it's kind of let down by the fact that what followed pretty soon after with F1 on PlayStation having that full license,
Yeah.
it kind of showed up its shortcomings. But as a racer, as an F1 game, it's solid.
Yeah, I'd probably argue that I probably enjoy playing this one more. But obviously the Psygnosis F1 game, obviously, or the Bizarre Creations developed one had on PlayStation, not only had all the content, but it had all the kind of the licensing, and the presentation looked like you were watching it on the telly as well. But this is a solid 8 out of 10. I think this is spot on. So it's a really solid F1 game. Fantastic racer. And if you've not played it and you're listening or watching the podcast, definitely pick this one up. Give it a try.
Yep.
Oh, this one,
Oh, mate, don't. Don't. I just scrolled down and see. I'm about to throw my phone off the screen. That's just a joke.
Yeah, oh god, this to me is shoot 'em up royalty. Layer section, galactic attack, and yeah, just gets the short shrift there. Kind of unsurprising. What attitudes were back then.
Yep.
Shoot 'em up games are old hat. And we probably haven't had a chance to talk about Galactic Attack in the magazine, and probably won't get a chance again. But
I've
for
never
me, mate,
called it Galactic Attack, mate. It's layer section.
See, I've always called it Galactic Attack because I've got the power game. That's another one.
Shite name. Really, Galactic Attack.
Yeah,
Oh.
Rad talks about it's Rad, isn't it? He talks about the playing the game in Tate mode, or you wouldn't want to do it with your 32-inch wide screen. But yeah, it's just a shame that it gets kind of a short shrift here. If you're in the market for an old school game, this should satisfy your lust. But yeah, I think the final score at the end is really harsh. It's not too bad actually, 79. Not bad, but not brilliant. It looks dated. But yeah, the effects, especially when you do play it in Tate mode, if you did play it in Tate mode, it looks amazing. The effects on there are absolutely incredible. And yeah, the way that the sprites scroll, it's just a phenomenal shoot 'em up. One of the best of the era, and there's a lot of competition in there.
Oh, I mean, I've done a video in the past on the best shoot 'em ups on Saturn, and I can't. Where did the layer section finish? Was it? It might have been first actually.
You can definitely make an argument for it, mate. I can't remember either. But it's there. I mean, there's a lot of competition, even coming in the top 10. SEGA Saturn shoot 'em ups is, you got to be phenomenal for that. It's an incredible game.
Oh, it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Even some of the kind of, says it looks dated, but there's some scenes in layer section that, like, there's one of the legs at the second level where like you're kind of flying over like the kind of like the planet surface, and then you kind of the camera pans over to the left, and like you see this like the space but below another planet. I think it might be Earth, and there's like a fleet of just like warships. It's like,
yeah,
oh, it's like,
yeah,
amazing.
There's some beautiful set pieces in there. It's 79 is really harsh, I think, for one of the best shoot 'em ups of the generation.
Aye.
But not wholly surprised.
And that
Mystaria,
too,
no. Mystaria is the next review, 8 out of 10. 80%. I don't have much to say on that one, mate, as we said there.
Yeah.
Worms. Now this is interesting. I've actually got the Saturn version of Worms. I mean, Worms is Worms, isn't it? I mean, Did you play
It's
this on the
not.
Amiga first off?
I think so. I would have been because using the mouse for to put your
Mm.
wee cursor, but it's not going to tax the Saturn any. But it's it's Team 17 and it did Worms,
Yeah,
so they've got that kind of classic visual style. It's also got the kind of FMV intros and kind of
yeah.
stuff in there to add to it. But it's just Worms is Worms, mate.
Worms is Worms. I mean, yeah, it's a classic to be honest, but I think 90% is a little higher. But
Ah,
I
it's
don't know
generous,
actually.
isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. You
I mean,
could,
he's
you
he's,
could...
he's called layer section. Is it rad again? Because
No,
you've
it's
just
someone else on this one, Stephen Merritt.
like you've just called or had a review calling layer section dated
Yeah,
looking, then you've given Worms 90%. You know,
yeah, one of the most playable games on the Saturn by far.
yeah,
78% for graphics, but playability and lastability are what carries it really. Which
aye,
I
definitely,
suppose that's fair. You get a few mates around with a controller, and it's a brilliant it's a brilliant game. You can,
good laugh.
yeah. Mate, here's one. Richard
Time
Ledbetter has
Warner.
picked up Time Warner's Virtua Racing. um,
Oh
yeah, it
dear.
seems to go all over the place with the review on this one. Um, it does compares it to Virtua Racing Deluxe, but then it's clear that it's not the coin op, it's not the arcade game, it's something else entirely. But I think the criticisms that Rich makes are definitely ones that I'd feel
Yeah,
they're will drag it down to me. I think comparing it to Virtual Racing Deluxe and the 32X is really harsh on the 32X game because that is a superb port, and Time Warner's Virtual Racing is a shadow of that game from a gameplay perspective, and in terms of authenticity as well. So yeah, I think that's harsh on the 32X game. But yeah, what did they get? What score did Rich give it in the end? 77.
77, which is
Yeah,
probably fair. But I mean, it's the fact as well that like Sega gave Time Warner no source code. They gave them an
yeah,
arcade machine, and they were essentially playing that and then trying to replicate it.
mm,
You know, and as Rich says there, it's like this is a port that's definitely more about quantity over quality. There's a lot
yeah,
of extra content, but it's a very, very different game. It looks like Virtua Racing, but it does not feel like it in the slightest, which is a shame, a real shame.
yeah, yeah. I mean, even the models of the cars are off though.
Aye,
So I mean, it's one of those you look at it for it is virtual racing, but then as you start to pick apart the details, you see
aye,
it's quite different.
shame.
So it's a shame, yeah, a real shame. But next, mate, Off-World Interceptor. Have you ever played this?
Nope, I don't intend to.
No, it's not great. It's not great. It's a very strange, very weird game. Lots of FMV. It's another 3DO port. Very odd. I would say that 65% is spot on there. Um, so yeah, not much to that one. And then from there, mate, it's onto the tips
The tips and then the out now, which is
and the out
basically
now.
just a rehash of the previous issue's reviews.
Yes,
So
mate.
So it's just, as we said, Virtua Cop, and the thing is as well, they do the out now in stars, not in percentage like they did in the
Hmm.
previous issue. So Virtua Cop 5 stars, GVC Boxing 4 stars, Popito 2 stars, Smashing of Hidden Stalls 3 stars, Firestorm for the Hawk 2 5. Great score, deserves that.
Yeah,
Golden Axe, got Golden Axe, but it's Golden Axe the Duel, four
yeah,
stars and Cyber Speedway 3 stars. Then from
yeah,
there we go on to the media section.
yeah. So CD films and music. So so we've got Bon Jovi Crossroads in there. So is that I'm assuming that's a video CD.
That has to be.
Yeah,
And you've got a bit of ABBA Gold, mate.
yeah,
Get some Dancing Queen on your Saturn on a Saturday night.
When Harry Met Sally.
Shallow Grave. There you go. You bit of wee portrait of Meg Ryan there.
Yeah. Meg Ryan, Bon Jovi, and ABBA. Just what you want in your Sega Saturn magazine.
Oh, and we round off with a little preview of next month's issue. Looks like Legend of Oasis.
Yeah.
Looks like Toshinden again. Panzer's Vi, Daytona. Issue 4 out January 24th. Make it your New Year's resolution. And then our back page advert is our good pals at Gameplay. Used you many a time. Another brilliant mail order company.
Yeah, so they're still talking about an in-depth preview of Panzer Dragoon 2. Plus,
which was 20% complete.
Yeah, I know.
In this issue.
Plus appearances from Legend of Four. So this is going to be interesting, mate. We'll see where this one goes. And I think they've milked the big three dry now. So it's what's next.
Yep.
So we know that plenty of stuff is coming through in 1996. So it'd be interesting to see what does populate this magazine. So mate, that brings us nicely to the end again, and it's such a crack going through these with you, mate. It's a real joy going through them.
Oh, it's fun, mate. It's like the thing as well is because it's triggering like kind of memories and stories as well. You know, like Deal for Cash. Like, you know, it's just brilliant, man. Honestly, it's a blast. And it's as I say, in fact, we've got 30 issues to go. We've only done 3. And the kind of general reception of them as well, people are enjoying them. So they're just great fun, mate. It's probably one of my favourite kind of podcasts to do because you're not kind of having to talk about technical specs and, you know, dig up any kind of historical stuff. You're just get through a magazine and just go, oh, I remember that. Oh, I remember that. It's just brilliant, great fun.
Yeah, so listeners and viewers, hope you've been enjoying this as well. As always, just leave us a comment or get in touch via the Discord. Let us know what you think, what your memories are, whether it's with the magazine itself or with the demo disc. So you know, plenty of stuff to talk about in there. If you've enjoyed the video on YouTube, give us a like and subscribe, as that really helps the channel. And if you want to be extra mega, think about becoming a member, which you can do from as little as 99p, where you get a bunch of awesome perks, and our Akira All Access members get early access to all of our video content, and they also get their names read out in the comments as James is about to right now.
Certainly. Our first Akira All Access members for the first show of 2026 are G-Man, Stiff Peaks, I Am Mikowski, Craig Williamson, Resident SD, P-Wall, Peter 007, Nick Tulloch, Greg Matthews, Tom Fum, Kaiju Leviathan, David Owens. We have Drickas 0, Pablo Plays, and Sancho 0813. So thank you very much to all of our members and subscribers. And thank you to all our listeners, members, subscribers as well for the support in 2025. The channel going to heights that we never thought possible, and we're excited to see where it goes in 2026 with you pushing us on. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. And speaking of thanks, I'm just reading through the credits on the magazine itself, and it says special thanks to everyone who helped put our cover disc together, and special no thanks to the shouty, sweary person. But so I would like to say and echo what you said just now, James, with a massive thank you to everyone who supported us via watching, subscribing, liking, sharing us in any way, shape or form. And if you've made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for spending your time with us. This has been the Sega Guys, and we will see you on the Sega side.
Sega!